So the Moorish Science Temple of America, is there different splinter groups of this? Because I'm confused of what a Moor is this day. So when I first got introduced to Moor, when I first heard Moor, it was the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And that's all I recognized was, because this was the leader. Then you had different groups, different organization. I'm a Moor, but I don't wear fez. I'm a Moor, but I don't say Islam. I'm a Moor, but I'm not a temple Moor. So now I was confused. Like, so what are you then? What is all of this that's going on? What is this confusion?
So, Doggy Diamonds. From this day forward, if people want to know where the Moor is, where to find your brother Taharka Bey. You know where to find your brother Taharka Bey, and I'm going to tell you exactly who is and who not, and how it come to be so many different factions. Well, first of all, let's start back in 1929. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, it was Moors that was with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali that was attempting to start their own Moorish Science Temple of America right alongside of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, to keep it a buck.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And when they were unable to do that, they plotted to, many people may have seen the videos on YouTube where they got the videos talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali, a pedophile. They accused him of raping of a child to try to get him locked up. They actually even got him locked up for conspiracy to commit murder to get him out the way. I mean, there was so much corruption going on because Prophet Noble Drew Ali had organized 30,000 of us, and we were working together, and we were all becoming wealthy. So they thought that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the wealthy one, so they wanted the position. They wanted to move him out of the way. You know how I go.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to move him out of the way. So long story short, that type of thing still plagues us till this day in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So now, in today's era, back during the time of the Prophet, there was about 4 different factions after the passing of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Mm-hmm.
These 4 different factions minimized down to 2, which was the Kirkman Bey and the Emeliel faction. The Emeliel faction was the one that Prophet Noble Drew Ali appointed. He appointed Emeliel. This is the brother that you see over here. He appointed Emeliel to be the head of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not even in his transition, but while he was alive, he ran the Moorish Science Temple of America while the Prophet Noble Drew Ali toured all the temples.
Okay.
With that being said, in today's time, it was up into the 80s, the 2 had dwindled down to 1, and it was which would be called the Kirkman Bey faction. And the Kirkman Bey faction was one of the ones that was going against and trying to disqualify Emeliel. Well, after Emeliel ultimately passed form, the Kirkman Bey faction began to gain a little steam because now he's out of the way. They begin to gain a little steam. And so up into the 60s and the 70s, they were the only Moorish Science Temple of America out in the public, kind of. But they really wasn't out in the public because you would never see Moors in the civil rights movement. You don't see no Fezes out there. You ain't gonna see no Moors with Malcolm X. You ain't see none out there. And you ain't seen none of the Moors and none of the uprisings of Memorial. When you look back, you don't see Moors there. And so this is just the fact of the matter. The Kirkman Bey faction went underground, and nobody heard of the Moors. So bring us up to speed. Emeliel step-grandson was discovered in the 80s. And by the way of one of my teachers introduced me to him. And after talking to him and sitting in his living room and going through dusty boxes and looking at, I'm like, hold up, ain't nobody got this thing right. Good goodness gracious. I say that all the time. Good goodness gracious. Nobody have it right. And so now today, to answer your question, you have the Taj Tariq. Taj Tariq ain't never been in the Moorish Science Temple of America. The one that he claims that he was in was not even an original descendant of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In other words, there was a creation of somebody's imagination. I'm going to keep it a buck. That's why Taj Tariq does not sound nothing like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali when you hear him talk. He talk way out there and you be like, man, Like this is a family demonstration. I'm gonna teach my child not to travel and license. Are you kidding me? Don't play with me. But anyway, he was never in an official extension of a temple that was related to the teachers of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Never, never, never. Okay, so you got the Taj Tariq guy. Now he's the father of the sovereign citizen Moor, as they like to call him. These are the brothers that like to talk about the right to travel. America is Morocco. This is my land, Al Morocco, and to a degree, they're right. But the point of the matter, you're going about it all wrong. You know, to a degree, this is your land. We was here before Europeans. You know what I'm saying? And I say to a degree because we've been conquered. Let's be real. Let's stop faking. But nevertheless, so you got the Taj Tariq and that faction over there. I mean, it's so many splinters over there. And then you have the Kirkman Bey. They're still here. They're called the Moor Science Temple of America Incorporated. And then you have what you would call the Emiliel faction. And they're splintered all over the place too. You got one Supreme Grand Sheikh here, one Supreme Grand Sheikh there, one Supreme Grand Sheikh here. And it's all over the place. So this is why I say pay attention to Brother Taharka Bey. I've seen it all. They got the Resurrection Moor Science Temple of America, the Emiliel, the Kirkman Bey. It's all confusion, all confusion. So you know what I said? We are going to do Orthodox Islamism. Because Prophet Noble Drew Ali say our religion is Islamism. We are going to do Orthodox Islamism, and anybody who's ready to establish and revive the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, let's rock. Gotcha. And so to date, Brother Taharka Bey is leading the revival of the Moor Science Temple of America that mirrors the Moor Science Temple of America that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali created. Because I don't see it out there. I don't see no schools. I don't see no temples. I don't see no dedicated people that's standing on the front line to guide our people towards success as it relates to better houses, better cars. We're not supposed to talk about that, but that's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali talked about.
No, we need better quality of life.
Yeah, and so this is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali talked about. So most people that claim to be Moors, I keep it a buck. They're gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The most people that call themselves Moors, they really are Moorish Christians. They have went and start to follow what I call Chrislamism. It's Islamism, but it's the softness of a Christian.
Got you.
They have no fight in them. And this is why our people out here dying. Because we supposed to be. Now, listen, Doggie Diamonds, if I look you in the face and I say, brother, I follow a holy and divine prophet, whether you religious or not, you like, that means something. But then when you look at the successes of me, and it doesn't match holy and divine, you got to be like, man, I ain't following that mess.
Yeah, cause you know what? Cause cause I never subscribed to the poor righteous teacher. The poor part of it always bothered me. I like righteous teacher, but I don't want to be poor. Cause poor is your spirit, your finances, your quality of life. So I understood it, but I was like, nah, I can't subscribe to being poor. Like, no, anything poor is no good for you. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and the Moor Science Temple of America have, during the time of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and in a short 3 years, this is what I'm saying, in a short 3 years, some temples had amassed wealth. It was 17 to 22 temples during the time of the Prophet. You know, some of them, history is kind of cloudy, but it's just 17 to 22 temples.
Make sure you click subscribe, youtube.com/Doggie Diamonds TV. Until next time, peace.